Thanks for chiming in. You guys, whoever just came in, it's a phone number, so I don't know who it is. But we're going to go ahead and mute everybody because we're getting ready to get started here exactly at 7 p.m. All right, cool. Wait a little bit longer. First of all, we're going to be, we got some more people coming in here, but we got my man Steve Smith. So what happened was this. First of all, thanks everybody for being on here. What happened was the last meetup, if you guys don't know, most of you know, we do, maybe Suzette, you don't know because it's your first time on here. So we do a free real estate meetup. It's a meetup and game night every second Thursday of the month here in Atlanta. And the last one, I had my man Steve come on, and Steve does Airbnbs and creative rentals. And so he manages them, not just for himself, but for other people. And so there's a wealth of knowledge there. And he was there, and I was excited about him being there. And I had the screen set up and everything, the whole nine. And I didn't know that you guys really couldn't hear it. So I was like, man, we got to make that up to him and try to get him back on. So he was gracious enough to spend his Sunday. So we're going to have to, if you guys have questions, make sure you start writing your questions down now, because we're going to talk for about 30 minutes. He's going to give you guys just a wealth of knowledge. Then we're going to open it up for about the last 30 minutes for you guys to ask questions. So make sure you got your questions. So when we open it up, you guys have those questions, and we'll try to get through as many questions as possible. All right, but we do want to be respectful of this time. So without further ado, I'm going to open the mic up to Mr. Steven Smith. Let me see if Steve, can you unmute yourself? Because I'm trying to unmute you, but it won't let me. There you go.
I have it. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Can you? Okay. Like Thomas stated, the last meetup session, I did like a 30-minute question and answer session with the group that was there in regards with questions from the Airbnb perspective. And yeah, I enjoyed sharing the information. And the key to this real estate investment is to make sure that you diversify your portfolio. So my background is that I'm from the IT world, corporate, but I've been doing in real estate investment about 8 years now. And 5 of those years been intensely focusing on Airbnb. Not only my own properties, but also manage 13 other properties for other clients. And I'm getting calls once a week on picking up additional properties because people just don't have time to manage their own properties, but also they're finding out they start out with want to manage their own property, then they realize how much work is involved. They kind of want to be hands off on it.
Tell everybody what that consists of. When you say Airbnb management, what are you actually doing? What's your day-to-day look like?
So the day-to-day management of it is dealing with the reservations, making sure your property stay booked on a regular basis, trying to be 85 to 90% booked. And that's all dependent on demand, or also the different seasons and what city you're in, what's going on through the city. So we have, say for instance, Atlanta, it's a corporate town. So you have a lot of corporate travelers. It's a town that's increasing more demand in the movie industry. So you may have some people coming through that work for the movie industry, as well as a lot of constructions going on around the city. So you got construction workers that are here that's a long term. Okay. And those are the typical long term. Then you got the everyday weekend travelers for family reunions, bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, weddings, things of that nature. So it all depends on the city and where you are. And the key is to be either downtown or close to the airport. That's what I'm finding from the 5 years of experience.
So you're saying you're 85 to 90% occupancy. That's a crazy amount. What are some of the besides location, because we understand location drives pretty much the real estate market, but what are some of the things that you're seeing that you're able to do where you can get your clients' occupancy up to 85 to 90%?
So basically you can't just rely only on the Airbnb supplier. You have to be really unique in your strategy to look at also people who's been relocated because of fire or put out their home for some reason, of the house, flooding. So you have to be connected with those relocation companies. So I got a couple pipelines with relocation companies. You look in
What
your
would, what would someone Google, like if they were talking about a relocate, like did they just Google relocation company? How would they find, because we have people here all across the country, right? So how
right.
would you find something like that in their neck of the woods?
So basically, a lot of that falls under the Homeland Security and disaster recovery centers in your city. So, so especially from Florida, so there's a lot of, so you can go to the Google and you can look up housing relocation. You can look up Homeland Security, because a lot of those government organizations are involved when people are being relocated, emergency type entities.
You're talking about like FEMA? Looking at
FEMA, in fact, yeah, FEMA, that's a good one. FEMA's another one. And
Huh.
where I got looped in, where actually when I started Airbnb, one of the young ladies that was the biggest competitor here in Atlanta, she actually came from FEMA, and that exactly what she did was relocated people that was displaced.
That's
Yeah.
amazing, because I would have never have thought to go to FEMA. I'm just thinking Airbnb, regular
Yeah.
commercial rentals.
No, so that's so basically when you get connected. I got like 3 companies I'm connected with. So every time they have someone, and what you do, you put your homes on those sites. You put your homes on those sites, and those sites they will reach out to you when it's something fit their criteria. And those are normally long-term type
Hmm.
stays. Then you have company like, for instance, you got Robinson, the construction company in Atlanta is a real big one. You talk with those big entities, they always have people they bring in from out of town that need somewhere to stay, and they'd rather put them in an Airbnb or versus a hotel. So you get on their list. There are several lists. Then you have like for the movie industry. The movie industry, I had to get the name up, but it's like they got a union for the movie industry, and you put your houses on their list. So when they got crews coming in, they don't have to be the star actor, the camera crew, the production crew. They
Yeah.
all want to be, they put them somewhere. They have to be in house in one location versus spread out through hotels.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
you
so
have
that's
to, yeah. Go ahead.
no. So basically what you're doing is because when even in the title of this thing was just Airbnb, right?
Right.
Really, what you're doing is you're taking the model of Airbnb, but you're just using other key industries to fill those
Right.
slots.
The
Airbnb does.
slots. Because and then you have other sites like HomeAway, VRBO, which HomeAway bought VRBO, but you have other sites, Booking.com. You have one called FlipKey. So those other sites are, now you have to make sure your calendars are synced. So I get a lot of clients coming through those other sites as well. You just can't call everybody's using Airbnb. It's highly competitive. Most of your overseas uh, guests are going to come through Airbnb, but most of
Okay.
your local and regional guests will come from your other initiatives and strategies that you put out there. And once you get your name on these particular lists of these particular companies, they come back to you each time because they rather come back to you if they get a good review versus going out trying to find. And they reach out to you and say, okay, you don't have a home. Do you have a friend or someone that has a home?
Wow.
So those are a lot of entities that keep you. That's why I look for my long-term bookings. And
Wow.
long-term is always better than short-term.
And I remember one of the first times when we first spoke, you told me something about like being in sync or understanding the calendar of like when companies start to send their employees out for conferences
Right.
and those type of things. Can you speak a little bit about that and how that affects and your the amount of bookings you can get during those peak seasons?
Right. So you got to understand the fiscal calendar for these corporations. Um, Traveling, there's 2 times of the year where traveling slows down. It normally slows down the fourth quarter because the corporate HR, they're looking at their budget going into the first part of the year. So around October, November, December, you get less corporate travelers
Okay.
because their budget is tight. Then if it's in a presidential year or midterm, then you're gonna get a slowdown during all across different businesses because those people that's in decision-making position in these corporate office, they don't know who the administrator is going to be for the new president that coming in, or the senators and all that. So when you have those elections, so they want to make sure they're representing their special interests. So a lot of times they tighten up their purses with their traveling and their budget just to see who's coming in office. Then once they see there's a candidate that's pro their initiative, then they release that. So in the first of the year, you have a lot of travelers. So like January, you have a lot of traveling going on, like the first 2 weeks of January. February slows down, then it picks up back up in March. So you got to know, and you got to know each one, your city. Like Atlanta, it's a corporate town. You go out to the Atlanta Visitor Center, you pull down all of these, the different corporate sessions that's going on, the different things going on. You get that list that's going, that's, and plus they have a list also. You can put your name, your company out there. If you're LLC, you put that company out there. Now, when these different corporate people go on to try to book, they only see the Marriott. They also see name of your Airbnb as well on the corporate site.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. So let's say, so that works in Atlanta, that works in LA, that works in Chicago, DC, right? What if I'm in like a smaller area? What if I'm in like a smaller town? What tips could you give for someone like that?
So for a smaller town, there's always going to be something, an industry that's going to attract people to that area. It's a farming town, things of that nature. And you got to look at what conventions they have going on in that area. And also, the way you do that, you can go to, say, the major hotel in that area, small town. You can look at their calendar and see when their prices change to see when supply and demand. That's another thing. That's a good key, because they have all the industry knowledge. The hotels have all the industry knowledge, especially if you know somebody that work in one of those hotels. They know when the demand is going to be out for lodging. They know this. So if you go and look at that calendar, say you want to, but you just go out there. I've done where I call a hotel and say, I'm looking to book this time frame. I know the price is much higher. And I'm like, so what's going on? They'll tell you this convention is coming to town.
Oh, okay.
This is coming to town. You just act like a guest. Just call them, act like a guest, and they give you an idea, why the price is so high.
So this is like a real, like, a lot of people, I think sometimes, and maybe you can talk a little bit about this. A lot of people sometimes they think of Airbnbs, VRBO, these short-term rentals, these commercial leasing. They kind of think of it as like a set it and forget it type of a thing. But this is something where you have to really have your finger on the pulse.
You have your finger on the pulse, because, especially for major cities, because you have so much competition. So many people want to do Airbnb. Some are good. Some just throw their stuff out there and they hope it stick. Other really take their time to put their investment in it, and they get the nice property. They hire a few people to outsource some of the administrative work and do it right. Yeah. But everybody's trying to do it. So you got to say what makes yourself unique and how you get your clients, how you get your guests.
Yeah. So one of the things that I used to have a gym, and we used to spend, like I think the statistic was I spent 3 times as much to get a new client than I would just to retain, right? So how are you getting repeat business? Like what are some of the things where you're getting repeat business from people? What are some things that you hear and tips and tricks you can give them?
Well, from the repeat business, once you get that client in there, that guest, you want to ask them a lot of questions. What can we do better? Then you tell them, okay, here's my card. If you share this with your coworkers, your family, let them know to contact me directly. I'm gonna give them a discount. You give them a 10, 15% discount. And normally I've got a lot of repeat business, especially when you're dealing with construction workers and contractors that's come to town, because they always want to come back to the same location. So if you treat them right, they're gonna always tell us. That become word of mouth. How you treat them, even if you have an issue, if you address that issue, in a quick fashion, take care of what they need, and you tell them, hey, I know things can go well in this area. Next time you come, I'm gonna give you a discount. Everybody wants a discount. Everybody wants to save money, no matter if they're a corporate vice president or the labor guy that's doing the drywall in the construction company. They all want discounts.
Yeah.
So that become word of mouth.
So let's just say, all right, um, Sharon, they want to start an Airbnb, and they're going to start tomorrow, right?
Okay.
They're going to start tomorrow, but they really don't know what it looks like. Okay, they got this beautiful home, and it's set up. What are some of the things that you didn't think about? Like, oh, I should have had this when I first started, or I should have bought more towels, or like,
Right.
what are some of the things that they need to be thinking about going into this?
First, it's like all real estate investment, location, location, location. Just because you have a beautiful 5,000 square foot house that's 2 hours outside a major thoroughfare city, don't mean you're going to get clients because your house is big and beautiful for you. And you got to think uh, from a business perspective. Take your personal perspective out of it. Like, this is what I would like to have. If this, take that out of it. You got to look at from a business perspective,
Yeah,
how you going to set this house up. Why are people coming? They're
don't be
coming.
emotional.
Yeah, they want to be comfortable.
Yeah,
Okay. You want to take all your personal stuff out. They don't care about, your family portraits or your Christian beliefs or whatever. You want the house to be as generic as possible so people that come, they feel comfortable. And also, you want it to be as comfortable as possible for the amenities you have in it, the sofa, the bed, things of that nature. You don't need a lot of trinkets. You don't need a lot of crystal and stuff of that nature. You don't need, because if someone come there and your house don't feel livable and comfortable and they have kids, these things may get broken. But first, let's look at location. Second, be realistic about what it is that you're trying to achieve with this Airbnb. If you're trying to achieve passive income, additional income, keep that in mind so you don't have to put so much money up front trying to get it started. If you have the basic needs, the necessities in your house, that'll be a good start. Also,
I think, hold
if
on,
you got,
let's pause real quick, because I think that brought up something, because I know when we did the meetup, a lot of people were amazed. The same thing with mine, on how much we spend on furnishings. Tell everybody what's like the maximum they should be spending on furnishings when it comes to making the home feel comfortable, like you were just saying.
right. So if you got so we're gonna go with first you want to have at least a 3 bedroom. If you want to maximize your potential, have a 3 bedroom. If you have a 3 bedroom and you got a finished basement or area that's open, you say, okay, I got this open, I'm gonna make a game room out of. Don't do that. You don't want in it any wasted space. You want enough beds so people put heads in the beds. More beds, the more number of people you can get in there is better. But what you want, say for instance, a 3 bedroom, the bedroom, bed, 1 or 2 end tables, one is suffice, lamp, a chair, and maybe a chest. You don't need a big dresser, maybe a chest, because you got to understand 90% of your clients, even about 80% gonna probably be short term. They're probably not even gonna use your chest. So
Yeah,
you got hangers in the closet. That's what you need, a basic. You don't want to go all out like it's gonna be someone gonna be living there for 6 months or a year. Now, if you get that client that say I'm gonna book for 6 months, 9 months, then you can add those little things that you feel like someone gonna be there permanent. So
gotcha.
you need each room a chair, uh, a nice comfortable bed, queen size bed preferably, the pillows, the comforters, clean linen, mattress cover, lamp table with a lamp, a chair they can be comfortable, because they're not spending that much time there in that bedroom.
Mhm.
That's for each bed. Now, from a television perspective, if you're going to do another flat screen, only put one in the master bedroom. So I have TVs in most houses just in the living room. But if you feel like I want them to be comfortable, put it in the master bedroom, because you understand, if you got a TV in the master bedroom, you got cable downstairs, they're going to expect cable upstairs. So that's another additional charge. Now you can add that stuff later
Yeah,
if you start to build your capital. Or if someone's going to be there long term and they ask for a TV in the master bedroom, then you can go ahead and do it, because that's better for a 6 month guest. But for the weekenders, you really don't need a TV in the master bedroom. The living room, you're talking a flat screen, of course, at least a 55-inch, a lamp table, sofa, nice size, 80 feet sofa, 8 feet sofa, love seat, and preferably a pull-out sofa. So in case you have to have additional guests, pull-out sofa, carpet, coffee table, things of that nature. The kitchen, all your basic necessities, your pots, your pans. if you're going to have your house, they're going to be for 8 people, you need at least 16 glass sets or
Yeah.
dishes. Don't have 8 for 8. Um, Same thing. You want to double up in the kitchen. The normal pots and pans, refrigerator, things of that nature. But it don't have to be all this fancy stuff. And also, what you can do is what I do as well. I buy paper plates and paper cups to put in it and paper napkins to put in the kitchen. So a lot of time when you have these weekenders, they'll use that and won't use your dishes.
Mm,
They'll use that
okay.
because once they start using your dishes, they're going to break some glasses. So if you have wine, you put a set of wine glasses in the kitchen for the young lady to drink wine. But also I put paper plate, disposable plates and cups in there for the partiers, the weekenders. Because normally they just going to buy food and use the microwave. That'll
Right.
save you a lot of money on cleanup and turnaround. So really, so I would say if you do it and you shop around, you could probably do a 3-bedroom and be comfortable where you get great reviews. It's not real fancy, but it's real comfortable and nice. Probably 3,000 or less. That if you go into IKEA, but if you shop around, it can be cheaper than that.
So 3,000 or less on all your Airbnbs.
Right, on Airbnb, yeah. I spend less than that here in Atlanta. I got places I can go and people I work with, I get stuff. And what I also do is someone telling me they got a nice sofa they want to give away, and I go look at it. It's in excellent shape. I'll take it and put it in storage.
Yeah.
Someone said they got a nice refrigerator that's working. I put it in storage because you're always gonna need replacement.
So I thought one thing, I can't remember if I got this from you or from someone else. Um, they told me to like, because no one thinks about the end, like the cleanup, right?
Right.
Like because you might get, well, hopefully you get a booking, and then a booking, the person checks out, and then you got somebody else coming right back in, and that turnaround time can kill you.
Right.
Someone told me, I can't remember if it was you or someone else, said that when they buy their sheets, they try to get all queens, or they'll try to do all one like style
Right.
of matches. So when they wash them, they said they spend a lot of time. Oh, is this a king or is this a queen? And they're trying to make up this bed within the few short amount of hours. Some of this stuff that we're seeing, we can only experience, but we don't experience that side. Like, how do you, especially from the management side, how do you manage getting one tenant or one guest out and then getting it cleaned and turned over within a short amount of time?
Okay, so with that, you're right. So there are some rooms you may not be able to put a queen size bed, but you may put a full size bed. So with that, you still buy queen size bed fittings. You
Okay.
buy queen size bed fitting. And because you're a small company, you don't go out and buy everything white. That's beautiful. Pearly white, white pillowcases, white thing. Only the hotel, the big chain can afford to have white towels, white sheets, because
Mm,
they got commercial laundry service that keep those things nice and white. But as
yeah.
a small business owner, it's going to be very hard to keep everything nice and white. Because when people come and you sleeping on white sheets and pillows, it look beautiful. It look gorgeous when they walk around. They say everything's white, but soon they put makeup on it.
Ladies put the makeup on it. Boy.
Yeah,
Woo.
it's saying they sweat. You're not gonna be able to get that out. So now you wasting time buying new sheets and all that. So what you want to do? You want to buy something neutral color, a soft gray, a tan, a light blue. You don't want dark sheets. A light blue, so when they walk in, they can see that it's clean and fresh. But you want at least, if you got a 3-bedroom, you want at least 3 sets of sheets or linen for each bed.
That's
So
good.
that way, with these quick turnaround, because you're gonna have quick. I got a bunch of them coming up. I had a bunch of them last week. So what happened? Checkout is at 12 o'clock. And normally your check-in is at 3. When you have these quick turnaround, you have your guests that check in the same day. You say, you tell them everything's up front. Thank you. We welcome you coming. However, we have a checkout the same day. Our check-in is going to be at 4:30 instead of 3 because we have a guest that just leaving at 12. We need time to refresh. So you tell them you need time to refresh because you may have somebody check out on Sunday, somebody checking in on Sunday. But since you got those extra sheets, your cleaning person go ahead and throw those in the washer and clean them and be making a bed with your extra sheets.
So you're not, and you're obviously, you're the person you're not going in there cleaning the toilets and doing the laundry, right? You have another company?
Yeah, I have 3 different cleaning service people that do it. And I do that because you can't all rely on just one person, one
So
company.
how did you screen it? Because that's good, because a lot of people would just go get one cleaning service right?
No, you want more than one cleaning service because most cleaning service, the people that do it right, they have their own cleaning business. They have other small offices. They have other Airbnbs. So what I do is I got 3 separate lady companies that clean services they clean, and I continue to give them work so they can stay my regulars. And also, you set that standard, they know what your expectations are. Also, the communication is great between. So basically, you just got to go through, like for instance, people that start new Airbnb, they'll contact me, and I'll give them one of my cleaning labels reference. But you just got to go through the uh, the trial and error. You know, you somebody say they clean, you call them up, or unless you get a reference. I got references or 2 of the ladies, and you kind of walk them through what your process is. You tell them how you want it done. You let them do it. You go out and check on them when things are right, and you kind of turn them loose. But you also make them own it. That way, if a guest complain about something, I have that cleaning person go back out there and talk to the guests about it. If a guest complains, say, hey, this floor look, no, it wasn't as, it was dusty or whatever. I said, okay. And I tell that person who responsible, I said, can you go out there and talk to the guests? I want you to hear firsthand versus me come and tell you third hand or second party, and then you're not believing me. You think I'm just complaining.
Yeah,
So I had them go out, you got to go own it.
That's
you
good.
know,
That's good. Making them take accountability for it.
take accountability, exactly. But
So
like I
let's
say,
talk.
but you go ahead. You got to have extra sheets, extra towel. Like if you got a place to say 8, gonna sleep 6 to 8, you need at least 20 towels in there.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
they're going to use extra towel. But also, you want that for your quick turnaround. Because say if it's 8 people and they use 8 towels, then you can use you put the others in the washer. Again, I don't do white linen. I tried that when you say mistakes I made, all
Yeah.
my houses I try to be like the pristine hotels. But I found myself throwing sheets and towels away after 1 or 2 uses because you just can't. The white just come back dingy. You just can't get them back new
You're
and
talking
perfect.
about three sets of sheets,
Yeah,
3 sets of comforters, like the whole.
comforter. Yeah, comforter. Another thing, that's another 3 sets of comforters because people have a tendency to think your comforters are not clean. They know the sheets are clean, but if they complain something about the comforter, so you want to be able, because somebody, they may leave hair on the comforter, 1 strand of hair, you want to put that in the washer, you got another new one, it's in a bag, they're coming right out. And when another thing, when they go, because people gonna walk through the house, you say, okay, we got extra sheets, you tell them I got extra towels in the towel closet. When they look in there, if they see extra clean sheets and comforter, they know you're doing your due diligence and refreshing that stuff over and over. Because they can go to, oh, they got clean sheets here. So they know you washing your sheets. If they don't see no more sheets nowhere, they think you keep using them over and over.
Gotcha.
And this is a thing I got from watching Gordon Ramsay on Hotel Hell. When we do our beds, I don't cover up the bed entirely. Put the comforter and kind of fold them back. So when people walk in, they want to see fresh, clean sheets. They already know you're not hiding anything, but they see fresh, clean sheet. Now, if you cover it up, and they get suspicious. But when they walk in, I want them to see fresh, tight, clean sheets.
So let's talk a little bit of money here. So let's talk a little bit of money. When you're looking at these cleaning supplies, or I mean, I'm sorry, the expenditures, right? So you got your cleaning people. Real quick, how much should we be spending on our cleaning people?
So with the cleaning people, it all depends on the size of the house. Say if we're gonna go with 3 bedroom, because I said that should be the standard.
Yeah,
The standard 3 bedroom from anywhere from 12 to 2,000 square feet, a 3 bedroom. The charge should be 150 or less. What you charging for your cleaning fee?
So
Okay.
are you charging are you charging the guest 150?
Yeah.
Are you paying the cleaner
No,
150?
you don't pay the cleaner 150. Okay, so let's take a 3 bedroom, and I've done this myself. Clean. I still clean when I can't. So there's times I go and do monthly cleaning. I want to do detail cleaning, so I do that myself because I need to know if something been broken, if light fixtures not working, the blinds are broken. So I go in. I do detail cleaning once a month. The ceiling fans, the window sills, and things of that nature. So the average house should, without someone just going and destroying your house, should take you 2 hours to clean. Okay. 2 hours to clean, and I'm paying the cleaner $40 an hour. So a 3-bedroom should cost anywhere from $80 to $90.
Okay.
Okay. Now I may charge anywhere from $125 to $150, but you got to understand, I'm not making money off the cleaning because I'm using that extra money to buy the cleaning supplies, you refreshing the toiletries, toilet paper, paper towels, dishwashing liquid, washing detergent.
Okay.
So, and you can't make money right off the cleaning because when you charging people so much per rate per night, then you add the cleaner to it. And if they're paying $400 for say 2 days, then you charge another $200 for cleaning, $600. They're like, that's too much. People will complain. They didn't want you to come down on your one of your fees. You see, then you got on top of that your Airbnb fees or your home away fees. So a $400 weekend could cost them $800 if you start adding all these fees on top. So with the cleaning fee, I charge enough to pay the cleaners and enough to replenish the toiletries and things of that nature.
As far as like utilities and stuff, what are you like? What do you budget when you look at a standard 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, 1,200 square feet or so? What are you budgeting? Because you got to have cable, right? You obviously have to have electricity and water and gas if it's that type of a house. What do you typically budget when you're looking at that? For how much?
So the budget would be, I would say, a total of $500. That's everything, and usually you can come below that. So just as a cap is 500. And the reason I say this because from the cable perspective, the way people watch TV these days, you don't really need cable, but
Internet.
you need Wi-Fi internet.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody's streaming. So if you get a Fire Stick and they can get the Hulu, the Netflix, things of that nature, you're good to go. So you can save money on that $100. I had cable in every house. I had money, and cable was such that every 6 months to a year, it was going up in price because they get you with the introduction price. So I was spending $120 per house on cable. But now with all the streaming devices, I'm spending less than $25 a month. And they're getting every channel, sports channel, and everything. So think about this. You can get the NFL app, the NBA app, and all the sports apps on your phone and just provide them with the password to log in on the smart TV.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So you
last
go ahead. Yeah. So then, and with your utilities, it's hot in Atlanta. So what I do, and I make sure they keep the AC, tell them to keep the AC on no lower than 72. Now, sometimes people go below that. Try to keep it on 72. And of course, during the summer, if you got a house with gas, you're not using it. It's normally your electric bill, both for the winter and summer, you have to worry about.
Okay. Last little question before we open it up so people can ask their own questions. Can you tell us a little bit about the student housing thing? Because I really find that fascinating about how some of these people are connecting with colleges and using their homes for student housing and getting paid sometimes even more than what
Now,
they do on Airbnb.
student housing thing is again, I mentioned at the beginning, when you got these investment properties, you have to find a way to diversify your investment. Don't just focus only on Airbnb. You got home and welding, but you have to look at other ways. And it's good if you got multiple properties, have one at Airbnb, have another if you're close to within 5 miles of a college. So the way the student housing works is 2 ways you can approach this. There's a website out there in Atlanta called Rooms Around Campus. They charge $400 to $450 per bed, not per room, per bed. And they got 2 beds in each room, and they may have 4 rooms. You do the math, okay? So you're talking, 8. You're talking 16. You know what I'm saying? You can talk up to 16 students sometimes. That's cheaper than campus, and it's $450 per. And what they do, the one lady I talked to, she have the parents sign a contract for that quarter. And the parents actually pay for their child room. So if you're looking at $400 to $450, that's $900 a room.
Per room.
You got 4 of those rooms.
Yeah.
And what's good about that, every time one of those kids graduate out, they tell somebody else that, hey, that's where I stayed, or you put it on the board in the student center. Okay, so that's one way. And another way is go to the local universities, no matter what state you're in, and look at their foreign exchange program. That's how I got started. Foreign exchange program, and a lot of times they want you to have a host uh, parent or host house for a lot of these foreign exchange students. And again, one they had in Atlanta I work with, you can have 2 to 3 students in a room, and that's just twin size beds. And they didn't need computers, they didn't need TV, they just need heat and air. That's all you had to provide to them, and breakfast. And you just buy cereal or bagels, whatever. And they was paying anywhere from $150 to $200 a week per bed.
So you got bunk beds in one room.
Right.
$200. That's $400 for that one room for the week.
For the one room for the week. That's for the week. And the way them programs work, they get paid once a month. They write you a check based on your company name once a month. That's how I got started with this.
That's $1,600 a month per room if you just did a bunk bed, or 2 twin size beds in one room.
Depending on how big the room is, the room large, you can put 3 sets of bunk beds in there.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? And most programs gonna pay you $150 to $200 a week.
Wow.
So, and you can do the math. Even with a 3-bedroom, you gotta understand, with 3-bedroom, what you can get if you just got 2 students in a room.
And that seems like it's, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, that might be a little bit easier to manage than an Airbnb or commercial rental.
It's much better, because if you can get one of those programs, once they come out and inspect your house, okay, we go send our students here. You don't have to worry about it anymore. 2, the expectation on these students, not like expectation of Airbnb guests. You're not worried about reviews. And 3, the money is guaranteed. And 4, you have a authority source to go to if the student's not acting right. You can always switch them out. So, and these foreign exchange students coming here, most of them, they're respectful and they want to be here. So you don't have to worry about them tearing your house up, throwing parties. Do you have your house rules set? So that's how I got started, one of the best programs out there. And there's a house next to one of my houses downtown. This guy, he's Vietnamese. He got at least 10 Vietnamese students that go to Georgia Tech in his house, a 3-bedroom house. And he's killing it. And he won't give me the insight. God been asking about getting me the students. And you can see every quarter, different students coming, but they're connected. And he has his own lock.
So guys, man, a lot of different things, a lot of different ways of getting into this commercial leasing. Excuse me, why this is important to also tie in with wholesaling, because this is a different type of investor. Obviously, Steve, if you were in the Atlanta area, he's trying to find another home. It's a different type of an investor. He's going to evaluate that property differently than someone who's just going to do a straight rental, or someone who's just going to try to buy and flip it. It's a different type of evaluation. So understanding what goes into how to run an Airbnb, the costs that are associated with it, what's the projected profits, being able to understand all that stuff, and not just know it as a number or know it as a figure, but to really, really internalize what it takes to be successful, can lead you into finding properties for other people that are looking specifically for this. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, you're not really out there actively looking for flips right now. You're looking for other properties that you can do student housing or Airbnbs or something of that sort, right? So if you understand what he wants, then you just work backwards, right? If you understand what the numbers need to look like for Steve to buy, then you just work backwards from there, and then you can go hunting for him. All right. So we're going to open up. Actually, let me go through some of the chats real quick, and then guys, if you can, there's a little feature where you can kind of like raise your virtual hand. It's like in the top right hand corner, it's like 3 little buttons. You can raise your hand if you want to ask a question out loud. And we got a couple of them here, so we're going to try to go a little bit, try to keep the answers quick and straight to the point. Deshay says, what if you don't have a home? What would you do at that point?
Well, if you don't have a home, you can do a sublease. Okay. Do a sublease, and say if you get a sublease, a 3-bedroom for $1,000 a month, sublease in an area do you think would be good, meet the criteria for Airbnb, downtown, area was a lot of traveling going, where schools are, universities, or near the airport, just do a sublease, 1,000, 1,200 a month, and then furnish it, get it set up, and try to get yourself a 2-year lease agreement, at least 2 years, and let the homeowners know that you're leasing from what your intentions are.
Yeah.
I like I said, if you don't have a home, I would start with a sublease.
Nice. Okay. Ramon says, in regards to selecting a property during your due diligence, how do you verify quickly if a neighbor is Airbnb friendly, that you're not violating any HOA or neighborhood rules or zoning laws?
Okay.
As far as a neighborhood, I mean, if you're in a single family home, like in a neighborhood, if you don't have any HOA, your neighbor doesn't have any say so. They don't. It's your house, right? But
Right.
if they do have an HOA, how would you verify that?
Well, it's tough to basically, if you're gonna go into a older community and use it, chances are they could have HOA, but a lot of times them HOAs are not in place. Just contact an agent. And so I'm looking to rent or buy in this area. I want to know what the HOA fees are. If they say, oh, there's no HOA fees, you're good to go. But if it's a newer community, chances are they're gonna have HOA.
And
And HOA,
HOAs have bylaws. So if you want
right.
to, if the HOA has a bylaw that says there's no commercial leasing, or some of them say that you can't rent your property, or if you're going to rent your property, they have to be put on a waiting list. All these different HOAs have different ways. Just ask for the HOA bylaws and see what they say. So that's a pretty straightforward, easy one.
Right. I'm gonna get right real quick. When you're talking about HOA, if you can, I would stay away from condos,
Oh yeah,
because chances
absolutely.
are they're gonna have HOAs, and there's gonna be too many restrictions you have to go around. And people do condos, but they sneak and give you the keys. It's not worth all that, because
I
they
always
catch
tell
you on
people, try to find a single family home,
single family
um,
home.
or a townhome that doesn't have an HOA, right? Because
That's
then
good. Right.
you don't have to worry about that. So Ramona asked, are American students very destructive to the properties? And is there an app to synchronize the calendars?
Uh,
So you think of
American
American
students.
colleges, you think of, like, especially party schools. Man, I'm just seeing, walking into the house and there's been a party, and, there's stuff hanging from the chandelier. That's what, right?
You're going to get some of that.
That's Ramona.
American
That's how
students.
Ramona lives. Just by like when she was in
Right.
college.
But that's why I say there's one, if you look at rooms around Atlanta, rooms around campus, that's why they get the parents to sign the contract,
Gotcha.
make them liable. But also, a lot of that you're not going to be able to avoid other than putting heavy penalties on uh, those type damages. And also, if you're going to do students, you have the right to put in your contract that you're going to do inspections. You can say, oh, I'm coming, but we do once a week or once a month inspections. You give them a decent time when you're going to do it. You go by and knock on the door on a Saturday, just go and do inspections, So you can do that. Like, say, the American students, just college students, now foreign exchange student, they do their damage outside of the house. They go hang out the clubs that, they do it outside the house, because you got to understand, they don't want to get reported and get kicked out.
Yeah, they worked hard to get to the country just to.
Get kicked out, right.
Yeah, they got a little more skin in the game. Yeah. Okay. All right. So Carla, I'm gonna take you off of mute. I'm gonna try to. I don't know why some people I can take off of mute. Okay, there we
She's
go.
raising her hand.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I want to know that when you let's say I have, to do the student housing bit, then when it comes to linen and towels, do you supply that as well, or do they provide their own?
Well, what you do, yes, of course you supply the linen, and you'll supply just a minimum amount of towels. If you got, like, say, students, you would maybe give them 2 towels, 2 bath towels, 2 washcloths. I don't do those middle towel. I just do the washcloth and the big bath towel. You give
Okay.
them 2, and from that point on, you got to wash and dry. They're responsible for the rest.
Okay, so I should have a washer and dryer there as well.
Yeah, you want to have a washer and dryer in the house as well. That way
Okay.
they don't have to worry about going outside trying to do the washing and drying. And also you give them, say, hey, you need to wash your linen, once a week or once every 2 weeks or something. And normally they would do it.
Oh,
For the
okay.
student, yeah.
Okay. Leo said, do you get your internet service in your company's name?
Yes. And if sometimes you can't when you're first starting out, but once you get yourself established, always get it switched over.
Get it in the company's name so that can be
Income.
that nice little write-off.
You want everything in your LLC, and that builds up your business credit as well. Try to get it out, your social security number off everything.
Oh yeah, so good point. So Ramona asked her follow-up question. She said, the synchronizing of calendars. Is there an app that synchronizes your calendar from Airbnb to Home Away to, all
Yes.
other platforms?
I don't use any of them because they're very expensive, but there are several apps out there. If you say you got an Airbnb account and you got a VRBO account, well, actually, those accounts within those apps, you sync up those applications. Because I got my Airbnb and my VRBO, my Flip Key, within their apps, they got that functionality. But say if you got, ABC account out there, your calendar under your company name, you got Airbnb. There are companies that will allow that you can buy their app to sync up. They charge like, $50, $60 a month for that service.
Okay.
But if you got Airbnb, you got VRBO, there's a function within there that links up the calendars. So when I'm booked on Airbnb and someone trying to book it on VRBO, it'll be blocked out.
Got you. Okay. Okay, so Darius said, what is the, let me see here. Darius says, what is the term hosting in Airbnb? The term hosting, it's just supplying the person who's hosting, the person who's supplying.
The managing, the hosting of it.
Correct. Yusuf says, I have a boarding house with 7 rooms. You're about to make me kick everybody out. So yeah, you can definitely see that there's some income potential there that maybe that we're overlooking there.
Where's this? You said where he's located?
I'm in Winston-Salem, man. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
So Winston-Salem, you like it located close to the city or outside, outskirts or what?
Yeah, no, heart of the city, man. I just checked. I'm about 7 minutes from Winston-Salem State, and the boarding house is probably, it's 2 minutes from Wake Forest, but it's not in the neighborhood conducive to Wake Forest. I was.
What that mean? It's in the hood?
They would think it's the hood. I don't think it is, but they would. They would. Okay. Yeah.
I always invest in the hood. I'm not can't be afraid of the hood.
I'm certainly not,
Yeah.
Certainly not, but I know how they think.
I wish I had that 7 rooms here in Atlanta. I don't care where it's located. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put this out there. If you all can find me a house with 5 or 6 or 7 bedrooms in Atlanta, please look me up because I'm looking for one. Especially if it's on a bus line.
What's that budget hitting for? What we looking at on this budget?
Yeah. So let me explain why I'm saying this. Another area I didn't touch on, and this is for those of you in these major cities. There's a program thing called Hostel. If you're from Europe, Asia, you're probably familiar with hostels. Okay, hostels are big in New York, LA, New Orleans, big cities like that. But these are where you set up, bunk bed, community living for these students that's traveling here or people traveling from overseas. These are the ones that's on a gap year. These student overseas on a gap year. And they know what hostels are. And they want to go stay in a hostel because of their budget. Now, you may get $15 or $20 a bed, but you may make a minimum of 3 nights. You say my minimum stay is 3 nights, $15 a bed. But if you got 20 beds in a 7-bedroom house and you got turnover all the time, every 3 days, you do the math.
Yeah. Those hostels are, when I went overseas, man, those hostels are very popular. They're very common. Yeah.
So that's why, again, I go back to diversifying your property and your investment. Don't just you got to think outside the box.
All right, we got another question. Lynette, you can take yourself off mute. Can you hear us? You said you had a question. Winnie, you there?
Hey, Tom, can you hear me?
There you go.
Okay, great. Stephen, this question is for you. I heard you mention in the beginning of the call about Homeland Security, disaster recovery, FEMA, and those types of sites. Do you have to be approved for those sites, or can you just place your business on those sites in order to get people who alternate connections for people who are displaced?
Right. When you go to their sites, they usually have a section on there that deals with displacement or hurricanes or natural disaster. What you do is you just make that, usually they have a contact number. And when you contact that, they have people that they deal with in their area. And what they do, they give you a number of those relocation companies. And you want to contact those folks. Because I got like a list, I think I got 3 of them that I use. And once you contact them, you put they'll send you an application online. You put list your house on their site.
Nice.
You actually working directly
Gotcha.
with the relocation companies. So all that is outsourced.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I do have another question. And you may have answered this the night we had game night about a month ago. What's the difference between an Airbnb and a VRBO?
The only difference is, well, there's a couple of different. One, VRBO is always the entire house. Always the entire house. You got the property to yourself. Airbnb, you can rent out your room or your basement. You can be, in a way, I don't want to get long with it, but the way Airbnb got started is that these 2 guys in San Francisco had an apartment that's paying $4,000 or $5,000 a month. They couldn't afford it. So when they was out traveling with their job, they rent their apartment out, their room out. So there's a difference. Airbnb, people sofa surf for Airbnb. They'll pay to sleep on your sofa for $15 a night. But home away is just what it is. You're not sharing that home with anyone else. You got the entire house. And another distinct difference is that most of your long-term guests are going to come through home away, and most of your relocation guests are going to come through home away. These people that's saying, I got somebody been displaced. I haven't got one in 5 years that's been displaced came through Airbnb. Now, most of your overseas resources are guests going to come through Airbnb. It's a big, it's known worldwide. Home away is more regional. They're headquartered out of Austin, Texas.
Good question.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
And there are different fees. Home away fees is much, much higher. You're going to get more regular business to Airbnb because home away charge you 3 times as much fees than Airbnb. That's another thing to consider when you put on home away. That's why most of your corporate guests and reservations going to come through home away, not Airbnb.
Nice. That's good to know, because if you plan on doing the corporate route, but you're only registered on Airbnb, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot there.
Right.
So, good stuff.
And most of your partiers going to come to Airbnb. So just keep that in mind.
All right. Perfect. Well, does anybody else have any questions?
And while you're waiting on any other questions, I'm going to give y'all a little insight from a risk management perspective. It's easier to recoup your money from damages through home away than it is to Airbnb. Home away is more host and manager owner friendly. And when you go to home away, you can set up $1 million insurance, things of that nature. Your security deposit can be higher. You can get that security deposit back. If a guest check out, there's a hole in the wall, you just tell home away, I want to hold that security deposit. Airbnb is more traveler friendly. If someone, you can hold back a security deposit. You should always do a security deposit. However, Airbnb hold that security deposit as a debit from their credit card. But if someone damage your property, you have to go to Airbnb resolution department to even consider getting that money back. And what Airbnb says, they want you to negotiate or talk to that guest before you come to them. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to side with the traveler. Whereas home away is more management and host friendly.
Good stuff to know. That's for sure. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions. And I do want to talk real quick. We got about 4 or 5 minutes. First of all, thank you, Mr. Smith, Steve, for coming on here and spending time with us again. I know the first time they couldn't hear, but this is definitely great information, man. Like some of this stuff, like you just would not know until you have this Airbnb and you're like, oh crap, I didn't think about having to buy, 3 sets of everything and 20 sets of towels, and like some of those things that you just like little things that are just going to make people's lives easier when they jump into this world of Airbnb or commercial leasing. So, man, we really appreciate the wealth of knowledge, man. I know we could probably be on this call for another 2 hours. You wouldn't even be halfway done with all the stuff that things that you've experienced. So,
right, we haven't even touched the surface, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So this is stuff that is amazing stuff. So,
and one more question. I think, Ramon, how would I allow the garage access to a guest without a remote clicker? Okay, you have those remote that you can put on outside of the garage. I have one on my garage. I don't know what you call it, but a keypad that's in sync with your remote clicker as well as with your garage door opener. So what you do, you can give them that code. Then if you want to change your code every time a guest leaves, you can change that code.
Good.
Because they're going to lose. If you give them a remote clicker, chances are somebody's going to take it with them back to California or whatever, or they're going to lose it.
A lot of times it won't even be on purpose. It's just like they
it's in a rental car. They put it in a rental car and forget. Yeah.
You don't do that. Like get one of those those clickers or one of those. I like the August. There's a lock by August. You have to have Wi-Fi, which you should have Wi-Fi if you're doing this anyway. But they have like a little receiver that sits inside the house that plugs up into the wall, and then you can literally instead of giving them a code, because if you give them the code, right, then they can keep the code. And then they can, not everybody's honest, right? So they can come back and anytime they want, unless you are constantly changing the code. But with August, what happens is that you can give them a temporary code and it's attached to their cell phone. So as they get close to the house, the door will open for them, right? And you can also remotely open the door from them. Like if you're any place that has Wi-Fi, you can be overseas somewhere. And as long as you got Wi-Fi, you can connect and open the door for them, but you can give them access to that home for a couple of hours, or you can give them access for, a couple of months. So it's up to you on how long you want to give them access. But once their checkout time is done, then they no longer have access to the house at that point. And then, you don't have to worry about changing the locks or changing August, just like the month. Yep.
Right.
About
I'm going to say one thing, Tommy, just to piggyback on what you said earlier when we first started this, find your niche. This is your niche. Is wholesaling is your niche. My niche is getting. I don't really look for property anymore, but it's to put people in them and diversify. But if that's your niche, the things that I just expressed, be able to tell your client all these different ways that if they're looking to buy this property, be able to give them all these different ways where they can make money with it.
Yeah.
Because Airbnb may not fit the location, but a hostel or a student type thing may fit.
Yeah.
So be able to take this and say, okay, I got this property I'm looking at. I got the potential and 3 investors. Let me sell them on it. And when you come to them with all these different options, now you're saying not only you be more educated, but you're more confident in what you're trying to sell them. So make sure you look at, and then there may be a situation where it only can fit a long-term lease, a 1 year, 24-month lease, something like that.
That's really smart. Understanding what your niche is, and what they gives you more options. That's really smart.
Right.
Definitely appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. No problem. Anytime. Just let me know when you want me to come back.
Oh yeah, I'm quite sure they'll be inboxing on when they want you to come back for sure.
Yeah.
I want to talk to my man Logan. First of all, everybody give Logan a round of applause. He got his first deal done. First little wholesale deal-y. Yeah, so Logan, you can go ahead and take yourself off mute, man. Tell us a little bit about your first deal, how it came about, and what you do, and anything about it.
Okay, so it was actually like my girlfriend's dad's friend, and my girlfriend's dad had told him that I was doing this wholesaling deal or whatever, and he had a house in North Tulsa, which is like the hood. So basically he was just sick of it, and he had to go to Texas for work for like 6 months, So he actually reached out to me and let me put it under contract for at cost. So what he had in it. So I put it under contract for 26,000. And like literally in a couple hours, I had a buyer at 30. And but like
How much?
I had a buyer at 30,000.
30,000.
But that night there was a shooting, a murder 2 blocks away. So the next day in the morning, the buyer texted me and said, "Hey man, I'm completely checked out. Like I don't feel comfortable even going there anymore." So I was like, "Damn, all right." And then I'm not joking. Like 2 days later, some dude that just got out of prison robbed a little kid's lemonade stand. So like it really wasn't looking great.
Wow.
Because the area is pretty rough. But I had a dude that wanted to do an owner finance on another house that I had under contract, but she couldn't do it because of her bank. They wouldn't let her. And so I actually messaged him on Facebook and I said, "Hey man, I've got an owner finance available right now on this other house. It's just a couple blocks away." And so yeah, basically we did a $5,000 down payment, a 10-year note at 7% interest. So
Wow. Okay. So, and they bought it from you for how much? They bought it for
30,000.
Nice. So man, you guys, so you did something where actually it was more than just a straight wholesale. So you found out someone who was willing, you talked the seller into saying, "Hey, listen, this is what's going on in the climate of this neighborhood. It's very difficult for someone just to come out here and want to pay cash for this thing."
Right.
But we did find someone that was willing to do owner financing to put some money in your pocket and then with a 10-year note.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's amazing, man. Because that's more than just like a straight wholesale deal. It's thinking creatively on how to get the deal done. And that's basically what we're doing. We are matchmakers. We're real estate matchmakers, right? Not everything is going to work perfectly where I find a house and get it under contract and sell it to someone who has, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 in cash ready to go. Sometimes we have to work creatively to make some things happen. And that's a really smart way of doing it, man. So kudos to you once again. Congratulations. And I really am happy because I know you worked on that thing for a long time. I remember you tell me about the murder. I didn't know about the lemonade stand robbery. That takes a special individual. They got some issues.
Right. I knew after that, I was like, okay, now I'm going to have to get creative because that is just like, I don't even know why that happened, but.
Yeah, that's wild, man. But kind of touching on that, this is why, this is a quick note and we're going to wrap this thing up. Because I care about you guys, right? I know we get excited about wholesaling, right? We get excited about going out there and making this money and making $10,000 off a property you never even owned. Good. But we also need to be very, very cautious of our surroundings. All right. There's a young lady named Shauna. I'm gonna bring on her on here in a little bit. She does creative financing, but she also goes into houses. She is out there in Chicago, and she always talks. She brings things up to be because she's a woman. From a woman's perspective that I don't think about, right? And so she was telling me like, man, you really need to talk about like the safety issues. It's something I've never even thought about, right? But some of the safety issues. And I remember taking a one-on-one client out and we were in Atlanta. We were in like the Bluffs area. If you guys know where about Atlanta, it's like the hood, right? And we're getting ready to go inside this abandoned property to take a look at it. And I went in first. I went in first with my gun to make sure that there was nobody in there. And I came out and I saw some people that saw us. And then I started seeing a guy on the cell phone, right? And he's talking on the cell phone. I'm just, kind of coaching them before we go in the house. We're doing a walk around. And then that guy's on the cell phone. He's talking to someone else. And all of a sudden, other people come out, right? And then there's this guy on a bike that starts to ride back and forth. He's literally like riding back and forth, right? And then as we're doing this, I'm like visualizing what's going on. I mean, my cop senses start to kick in, right? I'm visualizing, okay, this person is calling this person on the phone. They got like 3 people here now. Now we got people on the other corner that are just waiting there. They just came out of the blue, right? So what was basically about to happen, they were probably going to try to rob us, try to ambush us, because they know that we didn't fit in the area. You know, people in those type of neighborhoods, they know who live there and who doesn't. I drive in a bright yellow truck, right? It's not hard to miss, right? And they see that we're out there, and I'm kind of like explaining stuff to them. So I'm telling you this story is because a lot of times we get so wrapped up in going into the house and taking a look at the house and doing our walkarounds that we completely forget about safety, and we completely forget about being mindful of our surroundings. So we were literally getting ready to go in the house, and I saw what was going down. I said, no, hey, turn around, don't say anything, just trust me, go to the car. And we just immediately walked to the car and got out of there, right? So just be mindful of what's going on, because I'd be really, really upset if something happened, because you guys were, out there and not paying attention, and unfortunately someone tried to do something. So not something that we talk about in wholesaling, right? It's not something that you think about in real estate, but there are real estate agents. Every year there's, a couple of real estate agents that end up, getting hurt or killed, right? And it's something that we don't want to talk about, but it needs to be talked about. If we're going to talk about wholesaling and real estate in its entirety, then we also need to be mindful of this as well, right? It's very, very important. So,
hey, Tommy.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Who's
hey,
this?
So this is Wynette. And I am so glad, excuse me, that you brought this up. Because at the last game night, I believe his name was Shamir. And Shamir, if you're out there, I'd like for us to reconnect, but I'll be at the next game night. But in any case, he and I were talking about this, and I said to him, with this business, I have a problem with going into people's homes, especially if I were to call a male. And, I'm not a queasy type of woman, but I do have a problem at this stage of the game just going into homes. And I think this is something that we need to talk about, because, and speaking of finding your niche, I need to find my niche, because I'm not sure if that's a part of the business that I want to do. And there may be other women out there who feel the same way. So I'm really, really glad that you brought this up, and maybe this is something that we should bring to the table and have a discussion about, because that I'm not very comfortable with. So when you,
it is something that's important, and it's not something, I just want to make sure you guys, a lot of times you'll, like on Instagram or something like that, you'll see me go inside the house. It's not something that you necessarily have to do, right? To be in this game, you don't have to go inside the house every single time, okay? Sometimes I'll go in there because I really want to kind of understand the extent of the damage. I can probably tell that there's damage, but I want to understand the extent of it. But at any time, the little hairs on the back of your neck stick up, and you just get that feeling like this doesn't feel right. Just take heed to that. There's another house. Trust me, there'll be there's probably 10 more on that block, right? Just take heed to that and understand that it's not that important. It's not worth your safety. I'm a little stupid, all right? I'll just be honest. I do stupid things from time to time. Right? But you don't have to do that to be in the real estate. Necessity. Eventually, obviously, someone's going to have to go in the house, but you want to bring a team, go with contractor, go with people that you trust. But even then, like, you just really need to make sure, because while you're inside the house, just be aware of your surroundings. That's all I'm going to say is right. Just be aware of what's going around, so that while you're in the house with your team, just because your contractor's there and your contractor's 6'7", 320 pounds, I've noticed that little bullet makes people that are 6'7", 370 pounds, it makes them scared, right? So we still need to be aware of, even if we're bringing an entourage, of our surroundings, what's going on. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, man, I'm gonna let Steve go. I really appreciate it. We already kept him 8 minutes past 8 o'clock. So I appreciate you hanging out with us. But I definitely wanted to highlight Logan and just say, man, we appreciate you. Appreciate you telling your story and what's going on, because it gives me encouragement, gives everybody else encouragement to go out there and say, man, like, you literally made money off of a property that you put $0 into, and it shows this proof of concept. And it's not me doing it. It's not Maxwell doing it. It's not Tony Robinson Sr. doing it. It's Logan. This is his first one, right? So it allows everybody else to know that, one day Logan will be Max Maxwell, will be Tony Robbins Sr., and everybody will be asking, well, Logan, how'd you do it? I started with just one. That's what we need you guys to do, is just get that one. Because once you get that one, your confidence goes up and you can get others. All right. Appreciate it once again. Thanks again, Steve. You got any parting last words?
Appreciate it. Congrats to Logan. Like you saying, getting that one is key, and just build on that. And those things you said from a safety perspective, I'm like you. I go into these neighborhoods and, sketchy neighborhoods or neighborhoods that's on the turn up or downside. Just got to be mindful of your surroundings. And also what I find is, just on that tip, because I do a lot of business in these neighborhoods, and I tend to go, in the daytime, Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. What I tend to do, I kind of, dress down. Don't try to like $1 million going into these neighborhoods. And I kind of talk to some of the locals, say, hey man, I'm looking at this property. How long this property been empty? You know who's been living here? How long you been around the neighborhood? So once you get one of those individuals, a lot of times they'll talk to you and get on there. You can't go in those neighborhoods looking like you're about something for suited up and like you saying, and pulled up in a BMW.
Yeah.
Sometimes believe it or not, sometimes people in those neighborhoods, they take offense to that. They take offense to that, and that's their own insecurities. Yeah. But because I grew up in the city, I understand that mentality. They take offense to that because they think people come in thinking they better than them, trying to, buy stuff up in their neighborhood. Like you're saying, they thinking you're about money. So you got to be careful how you carry yourself. And with the young ladies out there, I got an agent. She don't like going either. And even in the daytime, she'll call me and bring somebody else with her just to go look at a house. And that can be like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. She just don't feel comfortable. But she knows that when she with me and this other guy, I usually, hey man, I'm thinking about this house. Anybody been looking at it? They'll come over and talk to you. Just kind of, but basically, like you're saying, be on your guard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at your surroundings. If you're uncomfortable.
Last question. Someone said, it was a very good question. In case they find a property or in case they want you to manage their own Airbnb, how could they contact you? Yeah, are you on social media or anything like that?
Yeah, you just look up Mi Casa Corporate Living.
Is how you spell it, M-I or M-E?
I put it in Mi Casa.
Very good question. Thank you for asking that, Carla. That's I should have asked that as the host. I should have asked that question.
Yeah, if you just Google Mi Casa Corporate Living, then it's going to pop up my contact information.
Mi Casa Corporate Living at gmail.com. Right. And then Mi Casa Corporate Living on Google, and they can find you.
Yeah, just Mi Casa Corporate Living. All my details will pop up. But anyway, I appreciate it. Tommy, anytime you need me to speak, just give me a heads up, and I enjoy doing this, sharing the information.
Thank you, Steve. All right, everybody, that's a wrap. Love you guys. Peace. Yeah. Enjoy your Sunday, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
All right, take care, everyone.
Take care.